Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Johnny Disc Golf here, and this time I am joined by Team Lone Star Disc's newest player, Mr. Carter Ahrens. How we doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Enjoying my off season here in San Francisco. The construction has stopped. If any of you have been following with my other interviews, I've been having like jackhammering outside my house for a month. So it's peaceful, it's quiet, and I am so jazzed to be talking to you. So, let's get this thing started. It's the off season. Where are you? How's it been over the last couple months break?
I'm in Gig Harbor, Washington right now, and it's been surprisingly nice out. Some days it's been raining, but it's been nice. Yeah.
That's kind of the rub out there, right? It's a little rainy. It's a little gray during the winter. How does that play into like your practice schedule? Have you been like practicing a lot? Have you been not playing too much? How's that been going?
I've been practicing a lot. There's actually a course like 30 minutes away that I practice almost every day.
Mm.
Then it's been getting colder out, so I just moved a basket inside to putt on.
I love it. You hear a lot of that from people in the Midwest. Like it's snowy outside, just throw it in the basement. I'll practice my 25 footers.
Yep.
Um, the reason for the season, the reason that a lot of pub has been going around with you. You've changed manufacturers, changed sponsors. You were with Dynamic Discs in the past. Now you're with Lone Star Discs. Talk about that transition and maybe why Lone Star Discs.
I think Lone Star, it's just the discs were, it kind of like fit my game really well. The distance drivers kind of hold up to my power.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of like overstable distance drivers. And also, there's a plastic type Bravo. It's a little gummier. So I switched to throwing a bunch of fairway drivers and just fan gripping it now. Which,
Ah.
yeah, which is making me a lot more accurate with my fairway drivers.
Is that were you like it kind of I feel like there's two camps in the pro disc golf scene, fan grip and like people who just power grip everything.
Yeah.
Were you a power grip everything type of player?
I've always fan gripped putters and mids, but never fairway drivers. I was power gripping fairway drivers and distance drivers. Then now I just switched to fan gripping fairway drivers and down, then still power gripping distance drivers.
What caused that change? Was it did you notice that your game was not as accurate as you wanted? Were other people doing it and you were inspired? Like why the change?
Really, I kept on grip locking stuff with the power grip, so I kind of just switched to be more accurate. It doesn't go as far, but it's more accurate, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I feel like you throw plenty far, so maybe sacrificing 15,
Yeah.
20 feet isn't gonna kill you there.
hmm
Um, You mentioned that there were a few discs that you really liked, specifically the super overstable distance drivers. But could you maybe speak to a few of the new molds that you've really been liking, or maybe one that like unlocked a shot that you didn't have?
I really like the Warbird.
Mm.
Like I really, it's one disc that I can really throw as hard as I can, and it'll fly. It will go pretty far, but it'll always have a really good line on it.
Yeah, I've heard that one described as like the SDS Destroy Bird before, because it's feels in the hand like that money run of destroyers from like eras ago. Is that your number one disc now? How about any like I've thrown the Walker around Nico through that. It's like the craziest feeling disc I've ever felt.
Yeah, the Walker is, I throw it in glow plastic since it's a
Oh.
little bit less stable, and I've realized the more gummy plastic that Lone Star makes, like the Bravo and glow plastic, is more torque resistant.
Mm.
So I throw putters and mids in like Bravo and like the more gummy plastic.
Okay, that makes sense. Kind of counterintuitive relative to other plastics or other manufacturers, but that's good to hear. Um,
Mhm.
there's always a lot of action in the off season. This one is going to be no different, right? There's a lot of people I think that are going to switch manufacturers. You were kind of that first domino to fall, if you will. What what was it about the timing? Like it seemed like right after the season ended, you announced. Could you talk about the process of switching to Lone Star and why like it came so early?
Yeah, well, I really didn't. I wasn't playing like any of the bigger events throughout the rest of the year. So like
Mm-hmm.
USDG, I didn't play all those ones. So really wanted as much time to get ready with Lone Star as I could.
Mm. Okay, gotcha. So took the end of the season off. Now, question: did that have anything to do with school year timings? I know you're one of our younger players on tour. Uh, are you in school right now?
Yeah, I'm doing online school, which online school makes it so much easier to
Yeah.
just get school done, like on the road too.
Mm-hmm. Well, what grade are you in? Does it have the equivalent grades when you're doing online school? How many more years do you have? Are you going to graduate high school?
I'm a junior right now, so I have 1 year after this year.
Wow, that's crazy. Already a full year on tour, and you're coming back for your junior year in high school. That's like unsettling to me on so many levels. But I want to talk a little bit about your rise, right? You're somebody that I think a lot of people had heard of. You had a lot of headlines. One of the youngest players to get multiple ratings tier, 1,000, 10, 10, all that good stuff. But is that anything that you ever like focused on when you were a young kid? Did you want to be like the youngest player to 1,000? Did you want to be the youngest player to throw a certain distance, or did it just work out that way?
It just worked out that way. Yeah, I just wanted to be the best that I could. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, I first started only throwing for distance, which I think helped me since you can always go back to accuracy and kind of tone it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it just came like that with all my practice.
And one thing, your father's not on camera now, but I know he's very involved with the tour and with their disc golf life and with the whole thing. Could you speak to his involvement in your progression? Was he like a coach? Was he like just kind of like pushing you out the door and saying, "Yeah, you got it. I know you can." Like, how involved was he with your growth as a player?
He just brings me everywhere. If I want to go somewhere, he just takes me, and it's very nice.
I love it. So, I what I'm hearing is that he is the chauffeur, and that is the extent of the help which he's given you disc golf wise. Does he play?
No, I got started by a babysitter like a long time ago in elementary school, and he took me out every day for like 3 or 2 summers straight.
Really? Wow, that's a crazy rise to fame. Are you still in contact with the babysitter? Does he like check in with your career?
Yep, he does.
That's too cool. That's too cool. Oh man. Uh, so side story. I worked in education for a long time. Elementary school kids. I would always set up a disc golf course at my after school program. So like hearing you say that, I'm like, oh man, I wonder which one of my students is going to grow up to be professional. It would be a cool moment, I think. Um, Gannon Burr kind of gets he's like our young great player on tour right now, right? He gets a lot of the headlines. He obviously has won a major. He's at the tippity top of the field. David Wiggins gets a lot of headlines for being like the crushingest crusher that ever crushed, especially from a young age. He had a lot of those distance records. Um, do you feel like you want to live up to that at all? Do you get irked when people say like Gannon, he's so young for being so good? You're like, I'm like 2 years younger than him. Hello. Like, does that weigh it on you at all, or do you just do your thing?
Not really. I kind of just mind my own business and just practice, and soon I'll get there.
Yeah, no, I love it. You're in like a hotbed of disc golf, right? The Pacific Northwest. There's a ton of really awesome players up there. I'm thinking Sexton, Scott Withers is somebody that maybe the nation doesn't know a lot of, but he just like dominates that region. The Nava brothers. There's just tons of really good players in that area. What was it like playing with legitimately like grown men? I mean, you're still a child now, but like you were even younger then, and you're competing against like bearded dudes and people who take this very seriously. What was that experience like? And was there like any little big brother, little brother energy there?
Um, Kyle Crabtree, he's
Oh, another
always,
one.
yeah, he always like messes with me on the disc golf course, and he's always been really good. So if I can beat him, I'm super happy.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Crabtree is like the Washington James Proctor almost, where like, gosh, I've seen him in person. Just he's one of the lesser known like regional dominant guys too. Um, Last year you had, so I'm gonna reverse 2 more years. 2022, you played a few of the bigger events, but for the most part, it was just in your region. Um, at that point, you're like 14 or 15 though. Talk about those first experiences playing big time pro events. Were you a little overwhelmed? Did it feel like, wow, this is where I belong?
I was a little nervous at the start, and also my game wasn't that good back then. I felt like I've gotten so much better, but like ratings hasn't gotten too good.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've been throwing so far, and just the other day I threw actually I've averaged one of my fastest I've ever thrown, and also I felt like my accuracy is getting so much better. So I feel like this year is going to be so nice.
Totally. And I mean, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't notice like I mean, some of our young players, we see them like growing, whether it's tall, whether it's like bulking out. I think Cole Radalin has gotten like 40% wider over the last year and a half. You're somebody that, I mean, you're stacked, dude. You're like when did it become a focus on getting into shape? Because obviously you're training, right? It's just part of it. I would assume. Like, are you focusing on building like a physique? Are you trying to get strong? Are you going with the Ezra Aderhold technique?
Uh, Not really. I've just always had such good genetics, and when I was super young, I've always been like kind of ripped. But then I started like working out a lot before like last year when I was still in person school,
Mm-hmm.
and like I've kind of slowed down working out, focusing on disc golf. But I think this off season I'm gonna start working out again.
Good lord, man! If you keep working out, this is going to get out of hand. Okay. Um, do people did people in person school like your classmates and stuff like that? Did they know your skill level and your trajectory within disc golf, or did you kind of keep that on the hush hush and not really bring it up?
Um, there's been it's weird. It feels like everybody knows that me and like my brother were like really good at
Mm-hmm.
disc golf at our school. So it was kind of weird.
Was it like did when you went and played a tournament and played well? Did people were people like yeah nice playing, or did you have to like come in like show and tell? Here's my first place trophy.
Some people would know. Yeah, it's funny.
All right, I love it. Um, I want to move into last season because that's kind of when to me, the name Carter Ahrens, I had heard it for a long time, right? I'm like, all right, this kid's good. He's going to be involved with disc golf, I think, for a long time. Last year is when I kind of saw you take that next step into like legitimately belonging on tour and having just as good of game as a lot of guys who are scoring well. Could you speak to like last season as a whole? How do you feel like it went? What would you grade your season?
I think it was really good at the start of the year. Like for some reason, my putting just got so good at the start of the year. Then I don't know what happened during the middle of the year. My putting just somehow was so bad.
Ugh.
Then uh, my drives just kept on getting better, but my putting got worse. So I wasn't playing that great at the end of the year. Then now my drives are so good now, and I'm just practicing my putt a lot to get it back to where it was.
Perfect. Repping the putt. Yeah, you got the indoor basket, so there's no excuses. Um, I when I look back at your season last year, though, I there's an obvious portion of the year where you had a little bit more success than other
Mm-hmm.
portions. It happened to be the Pacific Northwest swing, right? Clearly, the most amount of cash earned, the best, 15th at Portland. I think it was like fifth at Cascade or some fifth at Beaver State Fling. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Um, is that just because you were close to home? Did you have family there? Was there like good vibes? Why did you perform best in the Pacific Northwest last year?
Um, I just like that kind of disc golf where there's trees, but there's like not too many. There's like,
Mm-hmm.
and I think OB is kind of weird with disc golf. So I just like trees instead of OB.
Totally. And honestly, I think people think wooded or like they don't think distance when they think like Beaver State Fling and playing in the Pacific Northwest, but you know, BSF is a ripper course. It's not a technical course per se. Like there's big trees to navigate, like you said, but there's big fair hallways, and you got to throw a lot of like 450-foot shots to get
Hmm.
your birdies. Um, what is your favorite style of golf then? Is that it? Like kind of like Glendoveer, like ball golf, but you have to shape some stuff.
Yeah, I like just like slightly wooded courses where you like have to throw like distance drivers, fairway drivers,
Hmm.
and occasional putters. Like I love throwing putters. So yeah, just like the Pacific Northwest. That's what I like.
Totally. Hey, hard to argue with that too. It's one of my favorite places to go. Beaver State Fling was one of the first tournaments that I ever went to, like on a
Hmm.
professional level. So there's like a very special feeling I get when I walk onto Milo McIver. Um, let's move into this year, 2024. I guess next year, 2024. Do you have any goals in particular? Did you speak with Lone Star about like is there certain things that you need to accomplish contract wise? Like, where's your head at entering 2024?
I just want to play better. I want to be like up there in the cash almost every tournament. Get like a couple of top fives and top tens.
Hmm.
So just really just play good the whole year, not just have like a little portion where I play good.
Well, that's kind of the rub, right? I mean, I think a lot of the players on tour have all the skills to birdie pretty much every hole we play on tour. It's not that you are incapable of birdieing them. It's just about the consistency, right? It's about
Yeah.
syncing those shots up together and together. And I think, the better the player rating gets, the better each of your guys' skill gets, the more you can sync those up. So I totally feel you. It's almost like you want to just feel it comfortable, leaving your hand comfortably, and everything else will work itself out from that.
Hmm.
Um, is there any events specifically that you're looking forward to next year? You're a Pacific Northwest guy. If you look at the schedule, there's almost nothing on our side of the country, right? It's all in the southeast. So last year you played great on the West Coast. Now they're almost eliminating the West Coast. What are you looking forward to next year?
Both the Oregon events, of course. Then I really like the Texas courses also.
Hmm.
Yeah, those are nice.
Yeah, Waco is actually getting split into two now too, so you don't have only that little technical nine over there to score on. Texas State's, I'm not sure where that is, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Honestly, Texas swing is always super fun for me.
Yeah.
Um, I've been asking everybody in these off-season interviews about the Player of the Year race from last year. It's one of the least clear winners of any Player of the Year, at least that I can remember. Right? There's not one dominant player. So, of the three people who are in contention, Gannon, Isaac, and Calvin, which would you trade to have their season? Would you trade the two majors? Would you trade the consistency? Would you trade just like the net wins that Gannon had?
I'd say Calvin for sure. Yeah, he played so good the whole year.
So consistency, that's what it is for you?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. It's funny. I love to hear different people's responses, right? Because I've heard, the two major, 20 years from now, it's unlikely that people are going to remember all the fourth places and third places. Like Kale said, he would take the two majors, but I think that speaks to his career. You know what I mean? He's later in his career. So like he'll take the couple of big wins, whereas, maybe you're just looking for one great season just to start building off of. So it kind of makes sense that you two might have different answers.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, I want to take it off the course a little bit. Okay, you're a young person. I'm sure you're watching some Netflix or some Hulu or anything out there. Like, what's been the content of choice? Are you watching sports all the time? Are you watching documentaries? Are you watching like I don't know, like anime? What's your flavor?
Football. Yeah, just watching.
uh, so just locked in on Sundays, like no golf, baby. This is NFL Sunday.
Still play disc golf, but then watch football. So
Are you Seahawks? Are you a Seahawks faithful?
yeah,
Oh gosh, what's your take on Geno Smith? Is he the quarterback of the future?
definitely not. It'd be way better.
Oh man, that's funny. I mean, hey, you probably had a tough time watching Russell hustle and bustle Russell take down the Bills last night.
Yeah, he did good.
He did good. All right. Well, I don't have a ton more for this interview, but I did want to give you a chance to speak to any of the fans out there. People rooting for Carter. If you have any, special discs coming out, or where the people can find you on Instagram, this is your time. Take to the floor and talk to the fans.
Yeah, you can find me at Ahrens Disc Golf Bros, and I'm gonna come out with like a couple Tour Series discs, so look out for those. And Lone Star discs and Emerald City discs. Thank you.
Perfect. No, and really, I thank you, Carter, man. I one of my favorite things about doing this interview channel, podcast channel, however you want to call it, is really talking to and being able to highlight the next stars that are going to be on the Disc Golf Pro Tour for many years to come. So, really, I appreciate all the work that you've put in throughout the years. I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate old Chuck there in the background doing all that he's done for you and your disc golf career. I don't think it would be the same if we didn't have that support system pushing us, each and every day. So, again, that's about all I have for this interview, Carter. Thanks again. And for all of you at home, if you would like interviews with all of your favorite professional disc golfers, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel.